What's up, you podcast addicts? Welcome to the Failsafe Weekly Podcast. Joining me, my co-host, Eric Konetzny, AKA Konasty FPV, and Steele Davis, AKA Mr Steele. I'll be your host here, Ruben Jauregui. And I hope you have some clean chonies on. It's gonna be a gnarly ride. Now, let's get on with the show.
3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, guys, we've been gone for a while. Well, not really. I mean, for longer than normal.
It's been like a whole week, right?
Huh?
It's been like a whole week.
I forgot what you guys
People
look
don't even
like.
know, like...
I know.
People are like, oh, what happened? Where's Eric? Hey, is that a big piston in the background? Oh, my God.
Why does he have that at his house?
Steele grew a goatee. That's all I'm noticing right now.
He's got to change his image because now he's got a van. Free candy.
Yes.
Yeah. What do they call mustaches? Like,
Right.
Wait, what do they call that? There's like a different like perverted name for it. Like, isn't this thing called like the flavor saver?
I don't know what the mustache
French
would be
tickler,
called,
isn't
'cause
it?
it's
Oh
on
yeah,
the
is this
top.
French tickler? I thought mustache is French tickler.
No. Well, isn't this a French tickler? What the
I
fuck
thought
is
that's
this?
the flavor saver.
And then this is the little Hitler
Yeah,
mustache
but what
where
Steele
it's just,
has,
like,
I
just
think,
under your
I think
nostril.
Steele's is the French tickler. I could be wrong.
He's got the dual action though. He can go both ways.
Look at him now. He's like,
you
like,
want
what-
some of
he's
this
like,
too?
What the fuck? Like that mustache is.
It's a little too high. This is the only thing that really
That's just
like helps.
That's the flavor saver.
That's
The flavor saver.
So
So you get
dirty.
the little,
That's
All
a
right.
little snail trail.
This is the most worst start ever to a podcast, but whatever. Sorry, guys.
yeah. Sorry. All right. So let's go over what people have been doing in the last week. So Ruben, where the hell did you go? You went somewhere to New York.
Yeah,
right?
I went to the NAFPV, an event that started long time ago. That all these
wrong time ago.
before all the events that you even see now with all the the mini quad hype and
Prove
bullshit
it.
that we've been seeing. This has been around longer, and it's goddamn fun. It's
And what happened? Was it kind of like Central FPV, the CF FPV meet, or whatever the hell that was, where it was just basically a big mud
this
pit?
one was a dry pit, which is I posted some
Wait, was it like Flight Test or Flight Fest, where it was a big
better.
mud pit?
It was way better. It basically took a shit right on him.
Damn, that doesn't even sound safe. That sounds like someone needed to just use a condom over their butthole so that it was just warm.
No,
and it
really,
wasn't
but
actually
just
touching anything.
I know some assholes over there gonna fucking start getting on the computer and say, "Oh, that's fucking disrespectful. You should respect." No, look at turd. It's like this. It was an awesome
Look at you,
event. It was
turd
so
bucket.
much fun. It was so much fun. I've never laughed and had so much the camaraderie about just being there with everybody there from all walks of life. Like, you didn't get one guy who thought he was the shit, like like what we see nowadays.
Was
like,
that
I'm the
Sweepwings
cool
guy there?
right? The Sweepwing guys was there. He was a big old, he was a cool guy. I met him.
his head was so large and uncircumcised.
I couldn't even fucking, I've never talked so much and interacted with so many people, and we, everyone there from all over was just laughing, have a good time. We were, constantly busting each other's balls, all the time. And it was, it was one of the best events I've ever been to. It was a lot of goddamn fun.
Everybody was lit. That's why we were having fun.
That happened at night.
This all went on at night.
Everyone was lit at night.
Well, everyone there was, because like I said, my demographic is a bunch of little bit older guys compared to the mini quad guys. They're still in diapers and shit. Oh, look at me. But the guys over there in the NAFPV are awesome guys. They've always helped each other out from if you need something, they're always there to help. And it's mainly fixed wing flying. There's some mini quad guys that do hang out there, but
You're all
it's
listening to Bob
it's just
Seger
a badass
and shit.
event, man.
So You're all listening to Bob Seger and shit. Bunch of fucking hippies.
No,
Fucking hippies.
dude, it's so much fun. I don't know. I felt like I belong there. It's just so there's no when you bullshit to people to their face. And everyone laughs about it. Like we were constantly messing with Hugo, talking about how he has an entourage every time he
Who's
flies.
Hugo?
Hugo's my buddy. He's a good guy out in.
That's the guy from Lost, right? The guy from Lost.
No. Well,
Hugo.
he's got a buddy
Hugo Boss?
named Giovanni, and he was just constantly hammering.
Giovanni Rims?
And it was so fucking funny to watch these guys go back and forth with each other.
So explain what these guys are. I mean, you went to an event and it was called what? FAFPV? you said?
NAFPV. It's mainly like fixed wing. It's just like a fun fly. They race. They do like kick the can. Just a bunch of events. They hide stuff. Like Ready Made sponsors it. Alex Grieve was there.
Was the Ready-Made guy there? And he
Stone
was like,
Blue.
heard you talking shit on my website. Now I gotta pay to have somebody redo all my categories.
Hey, you got to take it like this. If you see something that needs work, fucking fix it. And if they take it in lightheartedly, then, no big deal. But, they were there. They were helping each other out, and that's all you can ask for. We weren't doing it to be negative. We were just telling them, hey, this is the things that when we search through stuff, it's hard to look for stuff. And so, we're bringing it up, right? If you don't say nothing, nobody says shit, and it continues to happen. And so that's what we're doing.
True. If something doesn't work, you gotta fix it. You don't got
I
a
mean,
leak
is it
in
bad
your
to bring
fucking
it up?
bathroom and you just let that shit run all fucking day.
It depends on the person, man. It
Like,
depends
dude,
on the
your
person.
house.
I mean,
is
like-
fucking
like-
I've been
soaked,
into
bro.
a few houses where there's just like a roach
I mean, think
farm.
about the FAA. If nobody said nothing and we continue to fucking pay the money, right? Nobody said nothing. They continue to make the money, right? Nobody talks about it.
They made that $5, man. That
$5 times 700,000.
Damn.
Yeah, but you know what? You pay taxes every day on when you go buy a fucking ice cream bar. It's the same shit. It goes to the same place.
I'm like, fuck that shit.
All right. Well, you guys pay like 11%
Fuck the police!
or something. Damn.
I ain't paying that shit. That's just that. I ain't. No, fuck all that.
I didn't pay it because I signed up early when it was free.
I know, so
And
did
then,
I.
Yeah. Now there's all this bullshit. You know what? Who I don't want to pay? The AMA.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the AMA is the biggest.
Dude, we were
ripoff.
talking about
So-
that too. We were like,
Like, what the fuck is the AMA? For example, like, I get it, American Model Association. Although it could be American Motorcycle Association. Why don't you change the fucking name so that it's not confused with every single other AMA
know how
in
many
the world?
trolls we're gonna
Saying
get
it's gotta
because
go,
of this?
Steele. This might get personal.
you know how many trolls we're gonna get because of this? Because we're bringing it up.
I don't fucking
Exactly.
care, all right?
So that one guy,
hold on a second.
that one guy who's like this, he's a fucking keyboard hero. He's like, oh shit.
There's a lot of
You know
those
what I
out
mean?
there. There is a lot.
To me, that's pretty fucking retarded. I don't think we need an organization who doesn't recognize us. And still, even the guys that I went to, over there in New York, they were even at their fields that they're AMA card holders. Even when they go and fly FPV, regardless if it's mini quad or fixed wing, they still get looked down upon. Still,
Yep.
and it's the
Yeah.
mentality. And you can't change an old dog.
Well, you can if you kill it and then you get a
Yeah,
new
you
one.
can do that. Yeah, totally doable.
So this is what I like have a problem with. I mean, just to go into detail about like a personal experience with the AMA, I have never really had a good experience with the AMA. I've never really done anything where they benefited me in any way other than going to a field where I quote unquote needed a AMA membership to fly there because of the $1 million insurance, like quote, like just like it doesn't really.
Has anybody ever seen?
They're not gonna.
Yeah,
they're
has
not gonna
anybody ever
cover
seen
anything.
that money get used
They're not gonna
for
cover
like
anything.
anything ever.
Yeah, they got a beautiful piece of land out there in their facility.
Yeah, but I don't think that.
Oh yeah, we're about to have an
Yeah, that
event
is
there,
true.
right?
Oh, you will.
Yeah, the riot event is out there on that beautiful piece of land.
You gotta be. Do you have to show up?
I'm going, yeah, and I'm not even
and your
AMA
face is
certified
gonna be on,
anymore.
like,
So
Freaking banners plastered all over that place.
yeah. So I'll give you the conundrum right now. So I don't know if I explained this in previous experience on this podcast or in other circumstances, but I went to Joe Nall and I basically got told at the gate that I wasn't allowed to fly because I didn't have an AMA membership. Okay, so I came in the door and there was a huge written piece of paper of people that weren't allowed, and then that was typed, but then Steele Davis was
Yours
fucking
was like in a
handwritten on that
special
shit in
category
big bold letters.
among the special category.
That's discrimination. How are you?
And
how
there-
are you as a flyer, right? as a content creator, supposed to tell more people about the AMA? How are you supposed to do that?
Well, I'm telling about them right now, just in a negative light, you know?
Looky here.
So I went into the door and I'm like, yo, like, why is my name on this piece of paper? And they're like, well, you know, the AMA says that you don't have a membership that's valid anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I was trying to renew it right now. And they're like, well, you're not allowed to because you're put on a blacklist for the AMA and you're not allowed to have an AMA membership. And I was like, why? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Let me call the AMA president, which was there at June. The guy came up to the front desk and told me that I was doing things against AMA regulation. And I was like, excuse me, can you tell me what I was doing? I was against AMA regulation. And he's like, well, you flew beyond line of sight. I'm like,
fucking prove it.
Were you there? Were you there? Did you watch me? Did you see what my eyeball saw?
Because I sent personally, him in the B-roll.
I could give a fuck. Yeah, no, there's a lot of all of this is on video, by the way. If anybody's curious, I don't really want to throw them under the bus that hard, but basically, it was told that there was a bunch of bullshit. All I heard was blah, 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 and you've broken the laws of the AMA, which I don't even fly under because I don't fly under AMA rule. I fly under Part 107 rule, which I have recently had experience with going to the FAA's office and talking with them and saying, hey, look, like, what am I doing that's illegal? Can you point me in a direction to where I could fix whatever you think I'm doing that's wrong? And they're like, oh, well, you're not actually doing anything wrong. Everything you're doing is following the Part 107 guidelines, which, again, I'm not flying under AMA guidelines because I'm not flying in AMA-sanctioned areas. Downtown Atlanta is not an AMA-sanctioned area. If you want to fly downtown Atlanta, you need permission from either landowner or you need permission from the FAA.
Preach it.
All of this stuff is legitimate if you have a Part 107 license and you do it in a way that is safe and you have obviously the prerequisites to get and do these things safely, which, you know, I can go into more detail. I don't think a lot of people take into consideration what kind of preparation I do before I go fly downtown or fly in an urban area or fly in any populated situation where I might potentially have an accident that would result in either property damage.
You want to run us
very rarely.
Fill us through your preps.
Yeah, bro. Fill us in. What would you do? You go to a spot. You're like, okay, look at that building. It's got titties on top. I'm gonna try to hit that shit. What would you do? You let's walk us through.
All right. So typically it sounds like most people in just assumption think that I see something and I'm like, let's fly that. And I just immediately put my packs on and just,
you don't
full
do that?
throttle up to it, right?
That's what I do.
No, I don't. I don't do that. So for example, I'll give you the larger, they call it the Pencil Building in Atlanta. So I have flown that about, I think, three or four times now, diving it and whatnot. And I've changed perspective on where I've done it from all four times. I've never flown it from the same spot. And typically what I will do is I assess the situation, usually go on a day where it's low activity. So usually a late in the day on a Sunday or Saturday, or sometime. I've actually done it midday on a holiday before. We've gone on Thanksgiving, we've gone on Christmas Day. So
super smart.
Yeah, you go on a day where there's very little chance that there's going to be traffic.
Yeah.
Okay? Because what you want to do is you want to mitigate as much risk as you possibly can, and taking humans out of the equation is definitely mitigating a lot of the risk.
Soft targets.
If there's not soft targets on the foot ground, in front of the building, walking on the sidewalks, then you're not going to have an issue with hitting somebody, which would be the most devastating thing that you could possibly do with a mini quad. In general, a mini quad is not going to do damage to anything. It's not going to break a piece of tile hitting the ground.
Getting hit with a mini quad, don't you, Steele?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, so you mitigate as much risk as possible. You take all the foot traffic out of the equation. You take all the soft targets out of the equation because you don't want to dent those things. And then you basically will scope the situation out, say, hey, look, this is a good area to dive. This is a good area to fly. I'm not flying over cars. I'm not flying over things. And if I am flying over a car or over a road, I have a spotter and I'm making sure that the traffic is not coming as in the time that I would be doing something. Again, it's on a holiday, again, on a really slow day, and you have people, if you're flying over a road or something to get to something, or you're flying over something that you could consider dangerous, you're doing it in a way where you're only over it for a split second. and you're getting to the location that is safe. So you're getting to the safest location, and like I said, like, you can't mitigate every single risk. You can't eliminate every risk, but you can take a lot of them out of the equation by doing safety precautions like this, where you say, hey, look, like, that's dangerous. I don't want to fly over that. If I have to fly over that to get to that, then I'm going to try to get over it as quick as possible, and I'm going to have someone spotting.
Just don't do it without a spotter. Like, you really need a spotter there.
Yeah, for like gnarly stuff, where definitely I mean, you're supposed to have a spotter at all times. I'll just go ahead and admit right now that I have flown locations,
I think we all
without
have.
a spotter, but it was more along the lines of, like, I'm in a park, I just want to fly, there's no one around, I'm just in an area where there's just not people, they're not going to go there, and I'm flying, and I'm being as safe as possible without causing any issues, or people aren't complaining. So it's usually a very rural area that I'm doing that, or it's on private property. So that would be the case where I'm flying without a spotter. But again, I rarely do that because I'm typically not flying alone anymore. I used to do that 2 years ago when I wanted to go out and fly, and I just had to get out and fly. But typically now I don't even fly unless I'm out with friends or traveling. Yeah. So like when people think that I go out now and fly like 30 packs a day and that's how I keep my chops up, honestly, I fly probably 5 packs a week at most, because I just don't fly as much as I used to, because I have so many other things that I'm trying to prepare for, or so many trips that are coming up, or I have things that I'm working on, like my van project, or dealing with just coming up with products. So there's just so much stuff. I really enjoy flying, I just don't get to do it as much as I used to. So I don't have the need to go out and fly by myself anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you got to get shit set up for the future. If you got other projects to do, then there's nothing against that. But if you're going to be flying, I don't think anyone should really question what you're doing. Like, I think just because of where you're at in the popularity feed, right? Everyone's just going to start nitpicking you, and so you get all those little assholes.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's going to have little assholes. The bigger you get, the more assholes you're going to find.
Pretty big asshole.
At the same...
What about a loose one?
Pretty big asshole.
The sleeves of wizard robes.
Yeah. That is nasty.
That's why they call me Konasty, bro. I'm really digging my own hole right here, right now. I don't give a fuck.
Just getting deeper and deeper.
That's what she said.
No, it's just you get guys all the time, regardless of whatever you do. If it's on YouTube, they're fucking everywhere. Right?
I don't know. I get nothing but love.
You must have a very tight-knit community that really likes you.
I keep it tight, bro.
Real tight.
Just trying to back it up. All right, so again, aside from the typical online hate, like, I swear I have people that just dislike my video immediately when it goes up just because they're assholes.
Podcast. Remember, I said the same thing. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's dudes that just watch my videos to dislike them all the time. It's funny, but fuck those guys. Anyways, back on topic.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so again, mitigating risk for flying in urban areas or flying in areas where you're, it's a little more risky. Oh shit, there's my buddy Pete on a skateboard coming home.
Watching. You're like, it's raining outside.
That would be pretty hilarious.
Slippery Pete all of a sudden.
So Jesus. So, all right. So one last thing I can say before, obviously, you're mitigating as many risk as possible by saying, look, this is a safe area to fly. You're going over, if you're diving a building, you look for the courtyard where when you dive, as in the baseline, if something happened while you're diving down the building, if say you've lost video or something and it just inevitably crashed, you want it to crash onto something that would be less likely to cause damage, aka the courtyard is typically the least damage because you're either going to hit a bush, a tree, either a sidewalk or something like that. You don't want to dive a building over, like, say, a parking lot or the awning for the front door or anything like that. Now, I have experience with... It's so funny. I'll tell the story right now. It's so long ago. Okay, so like
it's long ago, guys. All right, trolls. It's long ago. Happened a long time ago. We know now.
Actually, real quick though,
this is a long time ago.
You don't need to correct
us.
us.
I've thought about diving the Luxor in Vegas because, like, if I do eat shit, I'm just gonna slide down the side and maybe I'll land like props up and be like.
Dude, the Luxor sounds so sick. I want to just dive down that freaking light.
If I get disoriented,
the beam. I just want to be like, oh.
I'm just gonna blink off the side.
Isn't that on the
ripping down it?
Is what's the is it the Paris the tower there?
Yeah, the Paris is like I think across the street or something.
Yeah, that'd be a good warm up.
No, there's definitely too many soft targets there.
No, the Luxor is
the Luxor would be good because you could go in the back and they just have the maintenance area and there's like nothing back there except like the occasional guy on a golf cart. And like you could just go down the back.
Guys, don't do this, Kate. Don't do this.
I'm gonna be there next week.
We're like scoping it out, like exactly like telling people how to do it.
Ocean's 11.
I've been thinking about it. I don't know. I might do it if the conditions are right. I might do it. But it's hot as fuck right now, and I might just be marinating in my hotel room.
You need to check RF if you're going to do something that gnarly.
Dude,
Vegas is a serious RF apocalypse.
Last time I was there, and I was going
for what,
900 Trappy, yeah, using the Crossfire, and I was using the Spectrum analyzer on it, and it was surprisingly really good. Yeah,
dang. So one last thing, again, to cut down on risk, I do two things before I take off, after I've done all the stuff that I've already talked about, which, again, is flying over an area that you consider safe, having a spotter, going on a day that lowers the risk as much as possible by taking foot traffic out of the equation, like later in the day on a weekend or on a holiday or something like that. But then the last couple things that I do are I make sure that my quad is in 100% working order, and I've flown it many times, okay? And Eric is squeezing down on those nuts right now, those haters. Just coming in until they go. Anyways, so coming in hot, we have mitigated as many risks as possible, and we have made sure that our quad is definitely in working order. We don't take a brand new build out and do something like this. You want to make sure you've been flying it for a while and it doesn't have any inherent problems. That like video going out after a couple batteries or whatever. So you make sure your equipment is legitimate. You make sure your RF link is legitimate. You've flown it out. You don't have chopped receiving antennas. And that's just kind of standard practice. You make sure your gear is in perfect working order before you do anything that would be considered risky.
So
if you're flying in a park.
So in closing, don't be a fucking retard, guys.
Yes. There is a lot of stuff that goes into this that people just don't even equate. And then the last couple things that I would do is I put my goggles on, I switch to the channel that I want to fly on, and I'll check and I'll just look at the static. If it's typical static, you know that the video channel's good. I will watch the static for like 30 seconds to make sure there's not anything switching on or off, because I've had issues where if you're on the lower bands, like say 56,
like Wi-Fi,
5680 all the way up to about 5800, those bands typically fall within a Wi-Fi range, and you'll get some Wi-Fi noise, some digital noise on your static. So you can see it. It'll be little lines that roll down the static that'll be looking like digital noise. And if it's analog noise, you'll actually see like black spot, like splotchy things coming up on the screen. But if it's digital noise, it'll be blopping down the screen. It'll look very 1 and 0-ish. It's kind of like the Matrix rolling down the screen. And then the last thing that you can do if you really want to do this, and 99% of the time I don't do this just because I don't have an issue on 2.4, but if you're running a different frequency, say 900 megahertz or 433 megahertz, I would highly suggest bringing a spectrum analyzer with you and checking the spectrum. Now, if you have Crossfire, you can do that on the back of the Crossfire. It'll actually run a spectrum analyzer on
Steele.
the Crossfire itself. Yeah, you're welcome for that. Because typically, like how that whole thing came about was I was flying downtown Atlanta, not necessarily in the city, but I was in a park downtown, and there's this big antenna that's right next to my house, and it actually outputs 2 megawatts of 900 megahertz.
Gigawatts?
And 2 megawatt, no, not gigawatts, megawatts, which is huge power, okay? And it was directly pointed in the way of the park that I was flying in, and I punched out to the stratosphere and failsafed at about, I don't know, we'll say 399 feet. And started plummeting to my death. And the reasoning was because I had 2 megawatts and 900 megahertz blasting in my general direction, and I was only flying on 25 milliwatts because I assumed I would be okay running 900 megahertz in a like lower power scenario, just flying in a park.
Milliwatts, megawatts, watts.
Yeah, mad regret. Okay, so don't fly. I don't ever fly on 900 if I'm not
why
running
they pay you the
a
big
watt
bucks.
At least, or 500 milliwatts.
Yeah.
And dynamic power isn't quick enough to be working on a mini quad. It just doesn't switch fast enough. So when people are like, "Yeah, I just run dynamic power and I run 25 milliwatts all day," and then when it like gets bad, it pops up to 2 watts.
Oops.
It doesn't work quick enough. Yeah, that's an expensive oops for people that are trying to run dynamic power on something like that. The only time that typically works is on a fixed wing, or if you're really high and you're really far away, when it has the time to switch. If you're flying like proximity, you don't have time for it to switch. So if you start to lose signal, it'll actually switch. But by the time it's switched, you've already hit the ground and exploded because
basically use the right gear for the job, right?
Well, that's the right gear, just not the dynamic power.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Crossfire is definitely a serious thing to be using for long range stuff. In certain circumstances, it's not the best. In certain scenarios, like AKA where I live, just because 900 megahertz. I know people have asked in the past, like, why do you not fly Crossfire all the time? There's two reasons. One, it's almost impossible to fly Crossfire in Atlanta legitimately or safely because of this 900 megahertz 2 megawatt tower that is literally downtown. And then the other reasoning is the antennas are pretty long and they stick out a little bit and they're a little more fragile than like a 2.4 antenna as far as how I would mount them. So it's a little more difficult to run 900 on my setups. So, dude, I just don't do it.
I don't think any of the listeners are going to know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, so Eric lives in an area where...
Don't do it. Hold on, wait.
Right,
where
let's have a
Crossfire
different
is
topic
good
on the
for
Crossfire
him.
from my point of view.
Well, don't buy it. Don't do it. Just you got to learn your shit.
Don't fucking buy
right?
it.
Don't just fucking, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to go shoot it. Want to know why?
Well, there's the right tool for the job, and you got to have the right tool for the job, and you also have to have the know-how to know what tool to use. And I have know-how not based off of just knowing it all, but from experience, from trying it. Okay, so like when people are like, "Oh, like Steele's doing something reckless," I have done reckless things in the past, but I've also learned a lot from those things that I did recklessly, and now I can do it.
This is what you do. You go, look at here, you cunt. Shut the fuck up. Just watch the video. Sit back and relax. A lot of the times I get tired of just listening to bullshit, and
Ruben's
I try my
fired
best.
up today, guys.
Dude,
I came back from New York a different man.
Because I came back talking with ease, right? The realist, just being honest without, pussyfooting it around. And it feels so good just to like talk. But when it seems like when you talk with a different community, you have to like baby it and you have to be real PC because you're going to hurt someone's feelings.
Just fly 6-inch, you pussies.
Yep.
I'm just done. I'm just tired of fucking dealing with that shit.
A lot of this, a lot of the reason that I think we started this podcast is to basically bring out the shit and all the stuff that we talk about that just people don't hear. There's a lot of shit talking behind people's backs on a daily basis in close, tight-knit friend groups. There's just people that are always talking shit. And again, at the end of the day, like this whole thing, FPV in general, like every other thing in the world that makes money, started out as something that someone enjoyed doing, and then it turned into a money-making business, and now people are fighting and whatnot.
You know what I've experienced? And I had him on the podcast, my FPV Raw podcast on Saturday. I had Alex Grieve and Hugo from True RC, both antenna companies, both competing in the market, and they were side by side talking with each other. And then they had a beer after that. And then I had next to me Anthony from TBRC right next to me and all his buddies on there, all the guys that support TBRC. We were there bullshitting and talking. Like it was the best fucking thing in the world.
A bunch of hippies.
We were having...
Oh man, we just all like pop some LSD and just
Ruben,
fucking had a great time.
Ruben.
I'm not kidding. It felt so good just being there with and just we're competitors, right? We're competitors.
Yeah.
We make products and we try to get business. We're saying ours is better. No, ours is better. But we were there together, all in one melting pot, and it was the most liberating thing. I wanted to take my chonies off and just walk around.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I think there's a good comparison between the mini-quad world and the fixed wing world, and that's basically that the fixed wing world is a little more mature, and it has its rights to be more mature because it's been around for a little bit longer. But yeah, I would agree completely with you that there are a shitload of competing companies out there that are at each other's necks all the time. For just a generic like example, Immersion RC and Team Black Sheep are at each other's necks, and they have been for like 3 years now. And if you know the past between the two, I mean, basically Trappy from TBS flew Immersion RC gear for the longest time. And then there was some kind of quarrel between them in like, I don't know the details, but Trappy said, all right, fuck this. I'm going to go create my own gear that's going to be better than yours. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're both really good companies. They make really good products. Both of those guys, Trappy and Anthony from Immersion RC, are amazing people. I've had experience with both of them, and both alone and together. And I think at the end of the day, you know, they might hate each other, but they understand that these things, it's just kind of part of the deal. Like, they have accepted that there is going to be this animosity between them.
Business, bro.
And they can either work together or they can tear each other down. And whether they like each other or not, they don't have to go behind each other's backs all the time and talk shit. They can just kind of let it go. Like, occasionally shit gets talked, and I mean, it's really hard not to talk shit. It's super hard. And it's so
it's
easy
to
just say, yeah, fuck that guy. It's so easy. It's so much harder to say, you know, that guy's doing a really good job.
It is.
It's actually it's not
really
easy to compliment.
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
People make it, you know, a hard thing to do.
It's so fucking easy. It's so fucking easy to talk.
Yeah, it really is. Especially that's why we talk about the trolls a lot, right? It's what populates. But as a business, you know, if you listen to a lot of like the entrepreneurs who start business, you know, and they go, oh, it's really a cutthroat business. The guys that say that are fucking dicks, are assholes. You don't want to work with those guys.
Yeah, they drive BMWs. They wear ties all the time.
They think their shit don't
Walter
stink.
White will fucking sledgehammer their hood and light that shit on fucking fire.
But then you can also
karma's gonna get you.
You can also look at the guys who are very humble and that work with everybody, and they succeed the same way, right? They have that.
Well, they succeed. But they succeed in a different way. They succeed, though.
Yeah, they succeed.
Because there's two types of people. There's assholes that kind of shimmy their way through and snake their way through the crowd to get what they want. And then there's the people that are legitimately doing it. And typically the people that are legitimately doing it are people that are, like, going to go farther in life rather than just a flash-in-the-pan business that makes all that money.
Like Elon Musk, right? Like, you look at him, he's just totally chill. You know, like, you see him front page all the fucking time, right?
I heard that dude's a dick.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is, like, he's there front page. He's talking to people. He's interacting with everybody. Like, do you see GM owners? Are the owner of GM? Do you see the owner of Ford walking around, you know, interacting with people?
I was just gonna say that fool's dead, bro.
well, okay. What I'm saying is the guys who's running the company, and there's gonna be some fucking troll,
like the CEO.
right? You don't see him interacting with everybody. Hey, like Jay Leno, right? You don't see he's interacting with everybody and he's mingling, and you know they've made their success by just being one with everybody.
They're definitely not like that.
He also
Ruben
gets
from
to do what the fuck he wants to do. That guy doesn't mingle with anybody.
I'm an asshole. No, but my whole thought process is if I can grow something and bring the people that I find to be intelligent and work together and friendly, if I can, you know, bring them up and share the love and use my resources to promote the guys that are out there who are busting their ass, right? Like, why not? How is that a bad thing? If I was an asshole, I'd be like, no, fuck them. You know, I'm not going to post none of their stuff, right? I don't have to do that.
I mean, you're wearing this.
I typically don't like people until I meet them and I hang out with them for a while.
Dude, I mean, Ruben has the sneakiest sneaky shirt on right now. I mean, DSA, they swindled a lot of people out of money, and at the end of the day, like, they went through so many people, employees. They swindled a ton of people out of money. They held Chad's winnings from Drone Nationals for like 8 months. Like, they didn't even acknowledge the people in second, third place at all. Basically, no one got anything out of the first Drone Nationals except for Chad. Second Drone Nationals, no one even realized happened. The Drone Worlds, people don't even realize happened.
Out of the second Drone Nationals, so it's all good. I got a couple.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a trip to Hawaii that somebody invited me, and I was a fucking nobody, right?
No, I agree. The whole like scouting was legit, but people were swindled out of money for that.
Yeah.
Get FPV, all those big companies at the time, Immersion RC, they all paid for us to go over there. So
you know, one thing,
it wasn't DSA's pocket that was taking the hit. It was other people's pockets.
You know,
but he did, like they did put it on.
Yeah.
Like Scott put on a really good show. He impressed us, and in rightfully doing so, he got a little bit of trust out of the people that he did bring out there so that he could manipulate it in a way that he would try to help himself.
But
I just want to say thanks for the free ride. It's been awesome.
But isn't that how most you're like...
I was riding that whale. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
But dude, isn't that how most
the other
like,
thing
snaky people are, though? They're just really good showmen, and they're able to get people like hooked to it, and then they just like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that fucking Mr. Steve guy, he's such a fake.
Well, that's a whole different podcast, buddy.
So who's that? Wait, who is this? What is this in my? That's not in my feed. What's this?
No, but I was gonna say that the DSA thing in general was put together really well because it brought together Chad Capper and I. It brought together Carlos. It brought together you and I. I mean, to be fair, I have always represented Sweepwings as much as I can, regardless of if I flew the company or not, just because I like you.
Aw, stop.
So, like, when people, like, I would wear the Sweepwings lanyard, and people would be like, why do you wear that? Why don't you wear a Red Riot lanyard? Why don't you wear a fucking Navy Drones lanyard? Why don't you wear this? Because I don't fucking care. And I like Sweepwings, and he has a cool lanyard, and I wore a flight test lanyard forever. Yeah. Specifically because I wanted to support flight test, because that was kind of the roots of my whole everything in this hobby. I learned from either flight test or some other channel like Trappy's channel or something like that. But a lot of the basics I learned from flight test, and I was super supportive of them. And then, you know, I became a little less supportive during just kind of mishaps and stuff happening with Rotor Riot and flight test. And then it eventually changed where I was like, you know what, fuck this. I don't even care anymore. I'm rocking the Sweepwings shit because he ain't never gonna do anything that pisses me off, and if he does, I'm gonna call him out because he's wearing an Aloha shirt.
I'm gonna get a white van roll up in my front yard.
You are.
Like,
I'm a fucking SWAT team
like
out of that
Debo
shit.
And shit.
No, dude, you know what? The best shit ever, and we'll explain what he's talking about in a minute. But I want to come like roll up. All right, this is a profile view, so you just see this. Rolls up the van. Fucking doors go. The rear doors go. And a fucking wing goes, like rips out of there at Mach 8, like off of one of those, like.
Second runs out of there.
Yeah, a bunch of midgets come out.
No, like a launching, like the little launching situation that you put on the wings, and it just goes, like fucking full throttles, the doors close, and then that thing is on an attack mission for your face.
It could be made. It could be done.
It's like Knight Rider.
Well, that's what's cool thing about it, and I appreciate it because, you know, I mean, I don't have like a lot of stuff here, right? I'm just literally a dude just trying to make stuff and help people along the way. And I continue. I love doing it. I am a horrible business person, okay? I suck at it, but I like making stuff. And the guys always bust my balls just because like okay. I was at NAFPV and a guy asked me, he's like, what wing should I get? What do you have that I can buy? And I was like, well, you should buy this wing over here. I totally sidetracked the sale, and then he was over there talking to like Ready Made, and then he bought a wing from them. But I was, I can't help it. I just like giving people the best experience. That if it's there, go get it, and if it helps you to learn, then they'll come back, right? And that's the whole point: is let them learn, let them beat it up. If it's a cheap product, and let them thrash it. And then if they come back to you, then you help them. And
just set them free, bro. If it's meant to be, they'll come back.
Set them free. I've done that.
Yep.
Hugo, the guys over there, Hugo and a lot of the guys, they always make fun of me. Tim makes fun of me from Snipe Air. They always make fun of me, but I can't help it. I just, like, if I had a lot of money, I would give a lot of shit away. And it's because I like when people have that moment when they finally make it and they launch it and they're like, holy shit, it's flying.
Holy shit! I built it right.
And then they go, and then it goes, fucking.
Well, I've seen so many people.
flame
I've seen so
comes
many people buy a product that. Okay, I'm gonna use code words, but not really. Buy the mini drac, and they had to use a flight controller. They had to use a flight controller to get it to work. And I felt bad for them because I was watching their face when it crashed because they couldn't get it.
What was their face like?
It wasn't flying. No, I felt so bad for them, and I'm like, fuck, like they spent all this time to make an airplane that was, everyone loves, and they had the flight controller set up. They did the test run. Multiple people were there watching them and helping them set up. They did the ground check, and they could not get it to fly. And I felt so bad for them because they're like, I just spent all this money, and now it's, the motor mount broke off, the wings separated, the spar cracked, and I felt bad for him.
It's dust.
I felt bad for him, and that's, as a competitor, you're supposed to be cutthroat, and you dish it out, right? You dish it out, but I don't know. I'm not built like that. I'm not built for business. I'm built for creating something and letting people enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing, from personal experience, so I was always against the business type people, and I kind of am in the same way with you. Like, I would rather people have a better experience than buy the product that I have. So, like, when people say, hey, like, what kind of quad should I buy? It's my first quad ever. I'm like, well, there's a couple things you can do. You can go out there and you can buy a ready-to-fly quad, and I will suggest very good ready-to-fly quads to them that are fairly inexpensive, and usually ones that I've had experience with, a.k.a. the Vortex and the Vendetta. But I'm not going to go out and say, hey, like, buy this, and then you're going to have a problem with it. Like, if you buy I get asked all the time to do an Eachine Wizard review. Yeah. The Eachine Wizard, I've done a review on it. It's terrible. I would not fucking suggest that for anybody. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where people getting into it, and I know this from experience, and this is why I'm trying, like, this is the dilemma, okay? So when people say, what kind of quad should I get? Well, you can buy a ready-to-fly quad, or you can build one. If you're going to build one, I suggest building one that is a high-quality one, not because it costs more, but because it can withstand crashes. It's an easier build. There are plenty of people out there doing build videos. There are plenty of people that have it so that you have multiple people to, like, collaborate with in forums and whatnot to get experience from that say, hey, how did you mount your video transmitter? Oh, he did it like this, and there's 70 other people that do it like that, so it must be a reason behind that, and that's why they don't break video transmitters all the time. This is why they don't break antennas all the time, and that's kind of the dilemma. Like, do I spend $200 on an Eachine Wizard and have a terrible experience and never want to fly again because it exploded and the arm snapped off and the little stupid eyeballs were looking at me all crooked like? Or do I spend $700 and buy an alien like Mr. Steve and then go out there and crash it and scratch the brand new carbon and have a bad day because I scratched the carbon flying in a park, but I can go home that night and find out how to buff it out online because, like, I'm not saying you're not going to break it, but you're less likely to break something that someone flies on a regular basis. Like, I have thousands of hours of flight time. You know how many arms I've broken? 2. One of them was a overly chamfered arm that I recently broke falling from about 500 feet onto concrete. The other one was chopped by a carbon fiber fucking propeller at about 500 RPM. You can't argue with the fact that, yes, there are people that are breaking shit, but I have very little problems with it. And you'll see all these new frames coming out, like we talked about on the last podcast. Yeah. Oh, these have an inherent problem, like the top and bottom plate breaks on the QAVR. Yeah. All of these things, like the camera mount breaks on the Martian. The standoffs on the Martian are shit. The carbon is shit. Like, just, there are so many things out there where you can say, hey, do this,
because I don't want you saying all this shit about it.
Yeah, well, you're going to get fucked, all right?
Everyone's going to be like,
I'm going to find out.
When are we going to be able to get that new frame? I'm going to be like, never, because I don't want fucking bad reviews. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Steele.
Can't be scared.
You can't be scared. Hey, even when I stopped giving out wings for reviews. I've since when I started stuff, I've already seen the combos. I've already seen people do it, and I've already told, like, you're supposed to build it this way. This is what it's meant for, and then set it up how that is, and you'll have a good time. People sometimes, I want to do it this way though, and they won't use the recommended stuff, and they have a bad experience. And I'm like, dude, I told you, like, it's meant to carry, heavy gear.
Small
X
children.
weight, yeah.
But small children, puppies.
Yeah.
Wait. You mean you didn't have a
So
small
we haven't heard a
child
lot from
on
you,
there?
Eric.
Or a small child on there? That was your problem, bro.
Dude, so Eric, what did you do this last week? Let's get into like
Fucking
what we did
prove
this last
it.
week so we can end this and like get on with our
Right.
lives.
I went to work. Woo!
Yeah.
I did.
Where do you work?
This place right back here. Okay.
Bison
Went to work.
Motorsports. All right.
I didn't fly very much. I was working and just had a bunch of other things I got to do because, I'll be in Vegas anyways. I'll probably fly during the nights over there. I mean, the day. And the lights.
It's hot. It's too hot to fly during the day. I think there should be a pass by the FAA that allows you to fly at night.
I
just
meant
because
like
it's hot
right
as fuck.
before like it was getting dark is what I meant. Yeah,
The
like when the
civil
lights
twilight.
just turn on
Civil
and stuff.
twilight.
You know. Edit that out.
Yeah.
But
How long you going to Vegas
there
for?
a week, and I'm
Holy
gonna come back
crap.
a fucking hippie with all these stories and shit.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna.
Dude, you're gonna be a crusty
yeah,
tweaker.
I'm gonna have a sweet leather tan, bro.
A nice tattoo on your face.
Yeah, so I did that. And then like my prototype frame parts that came in that I'm not gonna talk about now because I'm just gonna get fucking shit on. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that real quick. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like all my favorite
Listening.
frames that I've flown mashed kind of into one. So the thing is, people can't see it right now, so it like makes no sense for me to really show them. But I put the little soft mount, like the Vortex for the camera mount, like the old blackouts and everything, on the front of the frame. That's going to rip off in a violent.
So your
it's
GoPro
going to
can
rip
go
off in a violent crash, but
go to
you can
orbit.
take that off and just like fly normally, like just stick your foamy thing on there. But it's like a cross between that.
Yep.
I flew the drone with pup frame. I like the shorter body of it, so I added that to it. I like the width of like more of like your alien style frame. So it's kind of like a little wider but a little shorter, and it's just got 6-inch arms because you should be flying 6-inch, you fucking pussies. But that's about it. I don't.
Shots fired.
I don't want to get hit right now. I'm scared. So.
Hey, it's good. I think for you when you have a product that you designed, like your
sell it.
Quad. I think it's cool though, right? Because it's something you designed.
It is cool. Yeah, it's cool to get like
fun.
the pieces in your hand and you go, oh shit, they all lined up. Holy shit, everything worked.
Fingers crossed, guys.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, after about 8 months of working on that PDB, it finally worked, and I was like,
When's
Yes!
that thing coming out?
yes!
Is
I don't know,
that
I
a
think
real
week.
thing?
Should be out by the time this podcast comes out.
Next
I
year.
think.
We're not even going to post this one.
Yeah. So, let me tell you about my week.
No,
Are you
totally
done,
done,
Eric?
dude.
Is
Go
that all
for
you
it.
did?
Yep.
You going to
I
Vegas?
got nothing else. I'm boring.
Got your prototype?
I have no
Wait,
friends.
are you going to record? Are you going to record while you're in Vegas? Because the guys are probably going to be fiending.
I am going to record when I'm in Vegas. You know what? Actually, the only spot I'm really going to fly out there that I'm thinking of is there's a place called like Symphony Park, and not everybody could fly there. You got to kind of like there's always these security guys there, but
Oh, I know the park. The one that has the
Yes,
the string of lights
yes.
across the top of it.
Oh,
that's a sick park.
That's a sick
yeah.
park.
So,
I
like,
love it.
Where I'm working, it's literally down the street. So when I'm done working, I could just drive right over there and fly there. So yeah, I guess somebody could meet me there if they want. I'm not going to tell you when I'm there, but you can chill there all day. I want to see if I'm like
Wait for me.
like a iPod or iPhone launch and people camp out. When's this fool going to show
hella
up?
hobos and stuff.
Yo, man, what are
Yeah.
you doing? You got a tent set up. There's like 2 people in line. We're waiting on Konetzny.
exactly. There's
Wait,
one dude.
You got to bring your podcast gear though,
Oh,
right?
definitely. Yeah, I'm bringing that.
Okay.
I'm not going to be like,
Alright.
going to New York or nothing without it. Just saying, bro.
Yeah, you won't have your channels coupled when you get back either.
I fucked up. I didn't know you could uncouple it by
We're
pressing
talking about
the two
Ruben
buttons
right
at
now,
the same
guys.
time.
He had to launch the nukes
I was
to
like-
get that shit undone.
Oh,
But
fuck,
no,
that's
yeah,
how you
I'll
do it.
record and I'll do some video stuff and everything. I actually like recording video on the way up there because there's a lot of spots to hit. Abandoned Water Park. There's the Mormon Rocks.
All right.
There's so many cool spots.
So, If you want to hit the most iconic street ever, there's a thing called the Ghost Town on the way between LA and New York.
That place sucks.
Not LA and New York. Between LA and Vegas. That place sucks, but right in front of it is a very legitimate street.
Yeah, a legitimate empty
that you can
street
fly
that
up and
goes
down.
forever.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So speaking of goes forever, so this last week I was in Salt Lake City. Okay, I flew out there for 5 days to do some safety videos for Teal. It wasn't actually a safety video. Teal Drones is basically a company that's trying to incorporate all kinds of mini quad technology from companies like Get FPV, Lumineer, or not. Wow, I just made that up. Get FPV. I was going to say Get FP and Lumineer, but they're the same thing. So Get FPV. You're talking about Immersion RC. You're talking about Team Black Sheep. Talking about Flyduino. And they also got NVIDIA, and then they have the Rotorite Run Cam. So basically, they took exactly the frame that I have. Or not the frame, but exactly the setup. So they have KISS 24s, which they actually have new KISS 24s that they designed in-house that have KISS firmware on them that are half the size of KISS 24s. Apparently they're going to be sold in the Rotor Riot store. I don't know, be on the lookout for them. They're tiny little ESCs.
They're like
KISS 24 amps.
$4 too, right? Which is cool. It's like
no, they're expensive.
no, they're like
I don't know how much they're
$25,
be, but they're going to
like
be
$24.99. I checked it out. Yeah, and I was like,
are you sure?
24 for 24 amps.
Yeah, so $1 per amp. And I haven't tested them yet, but I flew a couple Teals and they didn't catch on fire or anything, so I think we're good. But basically, so you have a KISS 24s, you have a KISS FC, so it's running all KISS stuff inside of this proprietary thing, like the actual ESC, or not the ESC, the actual flight controller is built into this main motherboard thing that's the shape of the Teal, which kind of looks like the body of an acoustic guitar. And then it has detachable arms that are super easy to plug in and plug out. It's like one screw, you plug it in, and it's got an ESC. And the freestyle version, they have two versions. They have a freestyle version that has Mr. Steele motors on it. So you're talking about the 2306, 2345 kV, the ones that I'm playing right now, the Silks. And then they're running a PC 5040 by 5, or 5040 by 3, like the typical props that I run, the HQs. And then it has the KISS 24 that they designed in-house that's super small, it fits in the arm. And then it has a KISS FC. It's got the Rotorite Run Cam, and it's got an Immersion RC Tramp, and the Lumineer little, dum-dum antenna, the antenna that looks like a dum-dum, the pagoda-looking thing. It's like the
dum-dum one and the pagoda is totally different, bro.
I agree, but
the
they're
Axie?
both...
It's the one from Hugo.
Oh, Hugo from Canada. Hugo... True RC.
No, that's the pagoda.
No, that's Martin.
the pagoda.
No, the True RC one is the tiny one.
The Dum Dum is
The
Hugo.
Dum-Dum.
Hugo and Get FPV got together.
Yeah.
Come on, bruh.
Okay. Anyways,
You
yeah.
gotta know
So
your shit, man.
I don't have a lot of experience with that one, but I know that whatever. I won't even say it. So. Yeah, it has all of that stuff going for it, and it comes with, again, Fat Shark. You have all of these companies that are known in the mini quad community. So you have all the stuff that's tried and true, and then you have the Fat Shark Predator V4s, and you have the Tyrannus Q7X.
Yeah.
And then you have the D4R, or not D4R, the XSR-SB. All the stuff that I would run, except it's in a different body. All right? And I flew it. Flies really well, actually, and it's supposed to be able to be bought in your main retail stores.
You get that
soon.
whole package, the radio, everything? How much?
Everything, yeah, with a charger. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's $699 for the whole thing.
That's a crazy good deal.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure that's what it is, but I'm 90% sure that it's $699 or $799. And they have a flagship model that's going to come out in the near future that has Lumineer motors,
prove it.
Same exact setup, but it has some kind of gnarly NVIDIA processor thing in it that you can do all kinds of gnarly shit with. I don't know much about that one, but I flew the freestyle one. And to make a long story short, we were trying to do a video kind of like you would see when you walk into a store and you see a GoPro booth, you see the little screens that are showing GoPro, ProReel or whatever. So we were trying to do that basically with me flying this Teal drone, the freestyle one that has my motors on it. And so we were up. We were up in the mountains. No, I didn't get paid for this. This was
why they pay you the big bucks.
Help these guys. Yeah, so I mean, they paid for my travel out there, but I didn't get paid to actually do any of this stuff. But I had a blast. Like, it was amazing. I stayed with a buddy of mine, Ryan Houts, which is super into rock crawlers, and I hung out with a couple people up there.
Are they going to pay you at some point?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Oh, man.
I mean, they bought motors from me, so technically I made a little money there, but it's not direct. Like, I don't get paid by Teal or anything.
Teal, if you're listening,
and then
help this guy out.
No, it's okay. So,
he needs a haircut.
So I was in Salt Lake City, and we were trying to do a safety portion of this video. And then what better way to do it? Eric, your video's frozen, by the way.
That's the way I like it, bro.
What better way to do it? What better way to do it than to feed hot dogs into the propellers to show how dangerous these things are, right? So we were doing this, and for some reason, out of the 3 people there, we were shooting it with a Sony FS7, I think, or FS5, in like 240 frames per second with a prime lens, like super close, really gnarly angle. And we had the thing on the ground, sitting on the ground, and I had the throttle stick next to me. And this is on a Q7X, so it's a little bit different than my Tirana. So the disarm switch was in a weird position, definitely right above the throttle. And I was throttling up a little bit to get the motors up, like just before takeoff, essentially. And I was feeding a hot dog in from the top, handheld feeding a hot dog in. Yes, this sounds retarded, but I was doing it anyways.
Enter the trolls.
And feeding it in, right? And then when I went to go disarm, again, I'm doing all of this. There's no one else helping me. No one else to feed the hot dogs, and the professional pilot to control the throttle. No, I have to multitask and do all this by myself. So I'm feeding, get about an inch away from the props with the hot dog after I've chopped this whole thing down, and I go to disarm, and I hit the throttle to mid-throttle instead of disarming. And the thing fucking takes off into my hand, like hits my right thumb, and kind of flips into my body and starts like basically trying to chop my shirt up, and then like goes down to my shin and hits my knee, and it's just like full, like half throttle or whatever. And I reach down and disarm, and I mean, I got cut up fairly badly.
These damn kids.
I mean, so like, I mean, I have let's see, 1, 2, 3. I have about 12 cuts on my thumb that run from the tip of my finger, which the tip of my fingertip was cut off on my thumb on my right hand all the way up to about the knuckle joint.
Were you shaking, bro? Or are you all shook up?
And no, I was actually very calm and collected with it. And I have a couple cuts on my knee as well, and on the side of my shin.
Because it wasn't your first time, huh?
And yeah, so no, I've had
been
an
around the
experience
block,
getting chopped up before. I had 28 stitches in my left hand about 2.5 years ago by a 645 on a. I'll just say this right now: fuck Castle Creations and their stupid ass ESCs. Okay, fuck that company and fuck all of their shit.
You gotta take a loan out just to buy one.
Yeah, no, they're expensive and they don't make very good mini quad ESCs. That shit couldn't even handle like 5,000 loop time. So.
Need that Simon K firmware.
No, it couldn't even keep up with that. Huh. So basically that chopped me up. I got 28 stitches in my left hand. So this is the first time I've done anything to my right hand. And a lot of people online were hating on me, saying, "Oh, that's why you don't hand catch." I
know.
Go fuck yourself.
See,
go fuck yourself.
That's what happens. You post anything and there's always an asshole. There's every time.
Yeah. So I will admit that we were doing stupid shit, but at the end of the day, it was funny. I was flying again later that day. It was so funny. They were like, "Can you still fly?" Like, yeah, I mean, I can. If I bend my thumb, a whole fucking gaping hole, like the C's part, and I start bleeding. But sure. So we went out and continued to shoot and flew the rest of the day. And then again, like that night, I just healed up a little bit. And it's 4 or 5 days later, and I have I have full movement, and there's not even really any scarring at all. So, it's already pretty much healed.
You're saying tonight's going to be magic, right?
Yeah.
It's just me and you.
I
have no idea what's happening.
but it's funny.
I think that's a analogy or a reference that Ruben knows and no one else knows. So, yeah. So, anyways, the one thing that I did out there that I really had a blast, aside from sleeping on a memory foam bed in the basement of a house in Salt Lake City that was constant 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot. Perfect sleeping weather. Hot.
60 degrees.
Dude, 60 degrees is
perfect, bro.
I keep my apartment at 78. All right,
Dude,
I don't want to.
The only time I get 60 degrees is when I stay at a hotel and I go in there. I'm like, it ain't my money, and I just drop that thing all the way down.
Just pop it up.
I was thinking it was a little bit hotter.
No, that's very low.
Save my money.
But Vegas is always 60
then you
degrees.
go outside, it's like 120. You're like, fuck that.
Yeah. Back inside.
I'm gambling today.
All right, well, tell us about your new minivan full of candy and stuff.
Oh, hold on. So the last day, I went to the Salt Flats.
Oh, okay,
all right?
okay.
Went to the Salt Flats and fucking flew the Salt Flats with the Teal, and I flew it with the Alien, and it was just amazing. Like, who would have thought a big open area could be so much fun? But it's so big and open that when you fly with a GoPro, you can just essentially see the distortion of the GoPro, and it looks like the Earth is curved, and it's just super. It's crazy.
Flat
I don't
Earth,
even know.
dude. It's flat Earth.
It is flat Earth. If you own a GoPro, you definitely don't believe in flat Earth. But yeah, that was sick. Flew that, drove home immediately. The day that I got home, I left at 4, or I got up at 4 a.m., got on a plane at 6 a.m., had a layover in Denver, got home at about 1, drove about an hour away from when I got home, about to West Georgia, Carrollton, Georgia. And I had been talking to a dude about purchasing a van. Like, I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this in the past, but in the last couple of weeks, I've gotten super psyched on building a camper van and traveling the United States in an FPV tactical van / camper van that I can go from city to city and stop and meet all of the people that have been like watching my videos and would like to meet me or whatever, or, you know, if they want to fight me or something, they can. I'll be carrying, but, you know, whatever. Go fuck yourself.
And my gag ball.
But yeah, I would actually really, really like to meet a lot of the people that send me messages all the time saying, hey, like, are you ever going to come to this city? Are you ever going to come here? And I know I can't do this worldwide yet. I do a lot of worldwide travel, but as far as the U.S. is concerned, I mean, I can travel at my own leisure and go all the way up the East Coast, all the way across the United States on the upper area, go down from like Seattle all the way down to San Diego, and then back across and cut across wherever I want. So, and I could do that in probably 2 to 3 months where I'm just stopping in a city saying, hey guys, I'm in this city for the next couple of days. If you want to hang out, let's meet up. And that's kind of been a dream of mine for, I don't know, well, I'd say about a month now. Something that really like just someone, my buddy Pete, and also a friend of mine, Victoria, kind of just put the seed in my head for traveling mobily like that. And it just like took over. So I went out and bought a 2016 Ram ProMaster, which is the same vans that people here in the United States use for the UPS or the USPS. Mm-hmm. That's their new USPS trucks. They're like these big, super square looking things. It's actually a Fiat Ducato. If anybody from Europe or anywhere else in the world, it's a Fiat Ducato with a 6-cylinder engine in it. It's a little Euro van, 136-inch wheelbase, and it's got 350 cubic feet of room in the back of it. And it's
Wait,
sick.
You posted some pictures on your Instagram, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I have a couple pictures of it.
Wait.
I've been like spending the last couple of days cleaning the previous owner off of it because I did buy it used.
Were you waxing the roof?
I was waxing everything.
I was like, who fucking
Used is
does
the way to
that?
go when you're buying cars because you're just going to lose value off the lot anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was originally going to buy a Ford Transit, and I wanted the EcoBoost engine, which was impossible to find in the 130-inch wheelbase. And then I went and drove a ProMaster just because my buddy Pete was like, "Yeah, I'm going to buy a ProMaster. There's so much more room." And I'm like, no, but the gas mileage is terrible. It says it gets like 15 miles per gallon, but after driving a couple of days, if you're conservative like I am and you drive like a normal person, you can get about 20 miles per gallon in it.
You need to put Flowmasters on it and shit. Put some K&N air filters.
Negatory.
Tune it up.
But
a little bit of. Put a little spoiler on the back.
I already have a spoiler. It's called a reverse camera, and that's all the spoiler it needs to get.
Mud flaps, Yosemite Sam, back off.
I actually do want mud flaps, but I couldn't buy a new one just because I couldn't justify spending. I couldn't get anybody down to like below 31.5. That's a lot of money for a freaking new van. Yeah. So anyways, I bought one with like 15,000 miles on it. Got it for a really good deal, and I'm going to put solar on it, build a freaking bed inside of it. It's going to have a full solar situation that I can charge batteries from, probably a 500-watt solar setup with like multiple 260 amp hour batteries inside there. It's going to have a sink. It's going to have a bed. It's going to have the thing that I really want to do is like have a Crossfire box and be able to plug it in my radio and then extend a bunch of antennas off the top of this thing and fly like long range from inside the van.
I got antennas up here. You guys don't even know.
Yeah. You do? You sit in your garage and rape stuff?
Sometimes.
Dude, I'm going to have to talk to you about that.
No, you're just going to need a roof rack, and then so you're going to want everything modular, so just get like a magnet base, or pretty good to have somebody make you an antenna, and then when you're done, take it off. Don't do this, but you want to set it aside.
Yeah. I want it to be telescopic, so I can go.
Yeah. I also got another one over here that extends out. It's for talking to people in case you do get lost out there in the middle of nowhere. And you're like, Eric, fuck, where the fuck are we? Come and get me. There's a black van chasing me.
Yep. So now I fit all the stereotypical things with the mustache and the white van.
You're a typical hipster, man.
Yeah, watch out. Hide your kids.
That's kind of like a big thing now, like those vans where the people are living in them and driving all over the place.
Yeah,
but it's
cool. They're called RVs, Ruben. They've been around for a while.
No, this is a little more. I'm a little tighter.
It's called a Winnebago, dude. And they're not the first people. VW made the camper bus, so you know.
No, but a lot more people are doing it. A lot more people are doing it.
People are getting sprinters and
transits, all that shit when you do
vans.
it. I don't care if you say it's hipster or not. That shit's sick. I want one. I'm jealous, Teal.
I'd be scared though. My biggest thing is my imagination would take over, and I'd have like proximity alarms when I go to sleep. So if any motherfucker tries to approach it, go. I'm like, oh fuck! You know, have a machete, bust out the door.
A machete.
You know, you got to get ready. You're in the middle of nowhere, right? You get that one weirdo. Your name's Steele?
One weirdo. People are like, are you going to wrap the van? Are you going to drive around and do self-promotion? I'm like, no, I don't want fucking people knowing that I'm sleeping in this fucking van. Dude, I saw the Mr. Steele van heading down the 5.
Hey, Steele. What are your
pants?
Hey,
can I have your autograph?
What are your pants, Steele? Don't do that. Just ask. You know, be polite. Don't be fucking weird.
Wait until I only operate between the times of 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So if you fucking knock on my door between that time, I'm gonna shove a
get a buckshot into the asshole.
Maybe do you have a bathroom in that thing? I really need to take a shit.
You can use my sink. I just ate out of it.
Hey, that's Smokey back there taking a shit.
Oh my god. All right, well, let's pull this thing to a close because it's over an hour, and right. We need to cut.
Hold on, wait, real quick.
Well, you need to use that shit more, man.
You're trying to just use a cabo.
When to jump it in. I don't know when to put it in.
You just start blowing it, just blast it all the time. You'll get familiar with it.
Between when someone says something, you just butt in with that shit.
You trying to just use a cabo.
Just butt in with that shit.
All right, let's wrap this up. Hey, when are we going to do another podcast? So when the guys are listening, we want to make sure they're following along, and you know we got to set up another one. Eric, you're leaving?
Yeah. I'm leaving.
I think. I mean, my original goal was every Monday morning, but it's super hard to do that. I think Tuesday mornings is probably a better option.
Or even Wednesday is probably good.
But I gotta go to work though.
I'm at work right now.
Yeah, but you work for yourself. You're lucky. I gotta go to the man and fucking deal with assholes all day.
All right, dude, just go in the fucking bathroom at work and be like, "What's up, everybody?" How are you hooked up there?
Dude, this is when you crank the reverb through the roof, and you're just like,
it's just like, it's your lunch break, bro. 1 hour lunch break. Just go in the bathroom, set your shit up.
He's like stuffing his face with PB&Js as he's doing a podcast.
Hold on, boss, wait.
I had to use the quietest food that I could eat. Last time I brought celery, and fucking no one could hear anything. What'd you say?
Peanut butter and celery, bro.
Shit. You gotta get that raisins on there, that ants on the lawn.
Serious.
All right, well we'll talk. We'll talk after the show, but
I'll have that shit on in when I'm in Vegas, but I'll be good after probably after 5.
Okay.
I'll be good.
Is that still California time? Vegas? Where you at?
That's California.
That's still Cali time.
Pacific Standard.
Because I know the time zones go like
Pacific Standard.
I know it's like
I
what
think
the fuck?
when you go into
Just get the straight
Arizona,
line.
Arizona will go an hour ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll work it out. So the listeners, if you know, we'll set it up for you guys. We'll make sure we follow through. But make sure you guys are liking and subscribing, and again, put the comments in the iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere you see it. Just put a comment, and it helps us with the ranking. Make sure to follow us, the Instagram and all that good stuff, the Facebook. Tell your friends, tell your moms about us.
I know. I read everybody's comments and I look through that shit, and if I don't see that you subscribe and you left a fucking comment, dude, I'm pissed.
I'm coming for blood.
And then I saw that you threw a thumbs down.
All right.
Oh my god, I'm sending Steele over there with the rape van.
And a gag ball. You're next. You, Peter, get out of here.
Yo, Slippery Pete.
I'm going to get the lollipop antenna out. All right, let's wrap it up.
Just edit that part out. God damn.
All right,
Just
guys.
kidding.
We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
yeah,
listening.
thank you for
And
listening.
watching, I guess.
Bye. Bye, guys.
This is so,
Bye.
all right.
Boom! That's it for this week. Link up with us next week here on Failsafe Weekly Podcast, where our links are locked in. Like what you're hearing? Make sure to follow us on all the social platforms and subscribe. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next location. Peace.